smoking is a sugar addiction. And when people stop smoking, what do they crave? They crave sugar because they're not getting their sugar hit from their tobacco. We drink 580 million alcoholic drinks a week and smoke 40 million joints every week. And if things get really acidic, from all the acid, we end up getting sick, and we go out and get a drug that deals not with the cause but the symptoms, which many times is also more acidic, and we end up in a situation where we're popping tranquilizers, we're popping sleeping pills and antidepressants just to feel better from all the pain, from all the acid. One of the statements I've made in my writings is acid equals pain and pain equals acid. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with how acid is created, but very quickly, it is the byproduct of cellular change. It is the byproduct of metabolism. It is the byproduct of digestion. It's the same thing with our car. When we turn our car on, we create energy from the burning of gasoline, and from that creation of energy, we create an acid called carbon monoxide. Our engine is on 24/7. We are constantly producing acids from metabolism. If we're burning sugar, we're going to produce acetaldehyde and ethanol alcohol, or even lactic acid. If we're burning proteins, we could produce nitric, sulfuric, phosphoric, and uric acid. If we're burning fats, we can produce ketones. There's always an acid waste product that is created. And then on top of that, we have dietary acids that we ingest too, that build up. Well, all of this acid, if not properly contained or eliminated, gets thrown out into the tissues because the body will do everything, and medical doctors know this very well, and so it's a tradition not to test the pH of the plasma because the body does everything it can to maintain the delicate pH balance of the plasma at 7.365. Now, why did I say 7.365? Because in testing thousands of patients, 7.365 is the number. And anything above that number means that the body's in preservation mode, pulling calcium ions or magnesium ions to neutralize that acidity as it's throwing out in the tissue. And anything below that number means that the body's in cellular breakdown and degeneration. Every other organ and organ system is compromised to maintain the delicate pH balance and to eliminate, through urination, defecation, perspiration, or respiration, these acids, and if they're not thrown out through these elimination organs, then they are thrown out into the colloidal tissues called the Scheide. That's a German word which means this network of fibers that holds our whole body together. It's back into the interstitial fluids of the body, into the connective tissue these acids go, leaving them for the lymphatic system to deal with. And so we have a pain here, we have a pain here, we hurt here, we hurt here. You are experiencing the acids of your lifestyle and diet that aren't properly being eliminated through urination, defecation, perspiration, or respiration. And so what happens is rather than dealing with the cause, I believe, we end up looking for a quick solution. Any intelligent person can recognize that our diets have changed radically in the last 100 years, along with our outer environment, with air pollution and water pollution. We need, I believe, to entertain this scientific notion that we need to be looking at our internal environments. No longer can we draw the blood and send it off to a lab, totally disregarding the internal environment while looking at the quantitative information and not evaluating the qualitative information, which is visually seen. What in heaven's name does your internal environment look like? And then actually involve the patient into viewing this, and rather than scaring them to death, scaring them alive. I mean, you want to see cellular pollution? I can show it to you. All I need is one drop of your blood. And there's not going to be any mystery here. You're going to say, yeah, I can relate to that because I'm living this. Because the life of the blood is an expression of your lifestyle choices, your diet, your thoughts, your words, your deeds is expressed in this very wonderful, important organ. We're all familiar with the pH scale, I hope. It's a scientific logarithm that goes from 0 to 14. 7 here, we're looking at blood at 7.365. Generally, urine and saliva is tracked in about 6. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Vinegar, colas, beers, soft drinks, nitric acid, and then we have bicarbonate of soda, baking soda, salt in the alkaline areas. And because it is a logarithm, any change of 1 indicates a 10-fold increase. So if we're looking at bicarbonate of soda, that's about 10 billion times more alkalizing than sports drinks. And you wonder, if someone's on the field and they're hyperventilating and they need hydration, the worst thing you could do is hand them Gatorade at a pH of 2 to 2.5. The body's going to go into acidic shock, and you're going to cause possibly, an arrest right there on the site. The body becomes acidic. You have to begin alkalizing those fluids of the body. The body does everything it can to maintain the delicate pH balance of the fluids of the body. And so when you look at the scale, and part of my research has been to determine the effects, the acid or alkaline effects of each specific food on the internal fluids of the body and the structures of the cells. You can't build healthy blood with a hot dog. It just doesn't work. You can't build good blood with coffee and beer, and you can't build good blood with sodas. But broccoli is something you can build good blood with, and we've seen the transformation because we've seen it not only in human, but we've seen it in animals too as well, and not just dogs who are on completely green food diets that eat broccoli for breakfast, who've never tasted a piece of meat in their life, that are the most tranquil, peaceful animals that you'll ever meet, that we've actually put these diets on lions and tigers and bears, who we have then associated their particular diets to what we're eating, thinking that they need meat in order to live and sustain their life. In reality, we're seeing more liver cancer and colon cancers because of this, not only just in humans, but also in animals. And so I began testing not only the pH of the foods, but I also was testing the electrical potential of foods. So this is measured in millivolts. And what we're looking for is, since the human cell is at -1 millivolt, we want something at least -1 or better that's going to contribute some sort of electrical potential to the body that we can draw then energy from. When we go out and we buy batteries, we buy the alkaline ever-ready batteries possibly that are electron-rich, that have some form of electrical potential, maybe even the rechargeable batteries, because then if we need to recharge them after we've used up that electrical potential, we're going to recharge them with more electron energy, which is no different than what we're trying to derive from the foods that we eat. We want something that's most like us, which is most alkaline, and carries some sort of electrical potential. But there's nothing on this list that I can find that's going to contribute energy. It's going to pull energy, so it ends up stimulating the body, creating a reaction of either adrenal release or adrenaline, or the release of hormones such as adrenaline or endorphins to stimulate the body into some form of action or reaction, rather than actually delivering the body the energy it needs and electrical potential. And so these foods don't work. And when we're looking at orange juice or apple juice, I have found that fruit drinks will shut the white blood cell count mobility down for 3 to 5 hours. The sugar content breaks down to acetaldehyde and ethanol alcohol, and for 3 to 5 hours, the white cells just sit there and shake like they've been intoxicated. And then we send our children off to school, and they're somewhat suppressed as it relates to their janitorial service with these white blood cells to be able to carry forward, maintaining the integrity and purity of the fluids, and many times children will end up catching something. But that's another discussion as it relates to catching something. So, in a humorous sense, I found urine was better than most things that we're drinking. Not that I would ever suggest that you drink your own urine, but if you did, you could say, well, at least it's bottled at the source. So, like Evian, right? Or Evian, however you would say that. But urine, this was good urine. I actually asked for a specimen from somebody in my audience. I'm not going to do that tonight. But I actually brought my electron meter and we tested the urine and said, this is good urine. I mean, what are you eating? And actually, in my research, I've determined the ideal, optimal pH of urine is 7.2. And the ideal, optimal pH of the saliva is 7.2. And that it should never drop below 6.8. And that if the urine is below 6.8, that is a reflection of what we ate before, which was overacidic, and it's a direct expression of what I call latent tissue acidosis. Latent tissue acidosis means that we're not peeing out our urine, we're absorbing our urine. Kind of like chickens, because chickens do not urinate. Did you know that? That's why they're so juicy. Anyway, you probably figured out here that I'm not a fan of chicken or turkey. But it's looking at things differently than we have before. And you know, I realize this change is difficult. I realize that these are new ideas, but hopefully they're stimulating thought to where, you know, as you think about what I'm saying here, you can contemplate your own particular state of affairs and start taking an accounting of your own body and how it's feeling and looking at what you're eating, what you're thinking, and what you're doing. And I can promise you, because I have 100% certainty about this, it's called certitude. I don't want to come across like I have an attitude, all right? This is certitude. Okay, and certitude is that I've seen so many folks change their lifestyle and diets by focusing not on their particular symptom, but on focusing on their particular situation of building healthy blood again and maintaining the integrity of the fluids of the body, and beginning with green foods, green drinks, and good healthy fats, that the transformations come and they take place, and we call these pH miracles. That's why we named our last 3 books pH Miracles, because they represent the transformation of the quality of life for these individuals across all symptomologies, regardless of what they were. Didn't matter. Didn't matter whether it was cancer, didn't matter whether it was diabetes, didn't matter if it was Parkinson's, it didn't matter whether it was MS, it mattered not. What mattered was focusing on the health of the small intestine, maintaining the delicate pH balance of the fluids of the body, and building blood, which can simply be monitored. And I know for you that have a swimming pool, I know that you that have a spa, I know that you that have a saltwater fish aquarium, make darn sure that the pH doesn't get out of balance. And you know what happens when the pH becomes acidic. All kinds of critters start coming out from God knows where. And this is the same thing that happens from within. But you can literally, inexpensively monitor the pH of your saliva and urine on a daily basis and maintain the quality and quantity of your life for as long as you desire. Now that's really optimistic. The biochemistry of acid-alkaline balance is quite extreme. It takes, as here we find in Principles and Practice of Adult Health Nursing, that it takes 20 parts of bicarbonate to neutralize 1 part carbonic acid to maintain a pH of 7.3, 7.35 to 7.45. We're talking about extreme biochemistry here of what we need to do to maintain alkalinity and pH balance at the expense of eating, ingesting, or creating too much acidity within our bodies. So this is what healthy blood should look like. How many have actually seen their blood? To actually see the quality of the red blood cells, to make sure they're round and symmetrical, they're free-flowing, they're not stuck together, the plasma is clean and clear, the immune system is functioning, it's moving, it's streaming like amoebas, picking up and clearing and maintaining, kind of like a pool sweep. You've seen these in the pools. We set them out there and they just 24/7, they just move around, picking up whatever is to keep the quality of that water clean, right? It's really quite nice. I mean, that's what we have when we're looking at white blood cells. I'm looking at pool sweeps and I said they're doing the same thing. They're actually keeping our fluids clear. And when we eat an egg, oh my heavens, these things go to work. They go to work. I mean, there's no better way to filthy up the fluids of the body than eating one single egg. 37,500,000 pathological microorganisms per egg. This thing looks like a war zone after you eat one egg. It takes 72 hours to clear it out. And that can only be seen if you've got a microscope. You eat the egg, test your blood before, eat the egg, and look at it 30 minutes. You'll never eat another egg in your life. It's the most, next to chicken, it's the next most filthiest foods you can put in your body. Eggs are not to eat, they're to grow little baby chicks. Somewhere we lost that. Anyway, healthy blood, normal blood is hypercoagulated, and this is the way it should work. I use my blood as a demonstration because I've been in practice now for over 25 years, trying to maintain and trying to acquire the best quality of blood, and we want to see those red blood cells nice and symmetrical, not fermenting or breaking down. Because when I show you some of the blood of animals and humans here, I have found the best foods to build healthy blood are the same ones that our Creator said were the green foods for our meat: spinach, parsley, celery, cucumbers. The green fruits, the green vegetables are the best foods for building healthy blood in combination with all of the good healthy oils, such as the cold press oils of hemp, flax, primrose, borage. These are just some, and some of the helpful ones, but not as helpful as the one I've mentioned. Fish oil also would be like the olive oil. This simple plant, grass, the very thing that we play golf on, the very thing that we mow, the very thing that we discard, is the very thing that would give light and life to our bodies for someone who is very, very sick. This is simple, it's inexpensive, therefore it's affordable for anyone and everyone, and I have found that it works extremely well. Here is the blood of someone on your traditional American diet of sugars, animal proteins, junk foods. You'll notice that the red blood cells are crenated. Many of them are stacked. They're irregular shaped, going from oval cytosis. Here you see in the plasma, you'll see bacterial or microorganism activity of yeast and bacteria. And then in the dry blood, in the way that the blood coagulates, we'll actually see the polymerizations of protein that are brought out from the breakdown of specific cells in specific areas of the body, which then show up in the coagulated blood. Healthy blood does not contain any of these white protein masses. These protein masses come from specific parts of the body and are not only preemptive but also gives us information in advance to the diagnosis. So if I see this particular pattern prior to maybe the diagnosis of colon cancer, I can actually see the progress of colon cancer before the diagnosis to preempt, or to